Hey, and welcome back to the Business Real Talk on this special episode called our intermission episode. It's a time and a space in between our next big series where we take you behind the scenes of the lifestyle and the mix between business and life that really truly creates a powerful CEO. So let's jump into it. Now, we're going to start talking about what I call life, business, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, right now in your life, maybe you're bombarded with those TikTok and Pinterest ideas that give you this perfectly curated feed of people who are doing it all and they're doing it in the best possible outfits and with the perfectly styled hair that you wish you could have on your best day. Now, that's not what we're going to talk about here because we keep it real. And I want to talk about how balance can often feel like an illusion and something that we strive to create in our business, in our life. And it's not that you can't have everything because you sure as hell can and should, but I also want to keep it real that we can't have it all, but it can also feel like we're dropping the ball while we're having it all. What we're going to talk about is what it actually looks like to create what I call active balance in your life and your business without feeling so guilty. Now, the good news is if we look at balance, we can see it from two angles, the action and the emotion. And that's what we're going to break down here today, the real talk behind life, business, and the pursuit of happiness without feeling all of the guilt. Now, I recently had multiple private clients who were struggling through some heavy medical situations that were leaving them really exhausted. Now, this specific client came to me and she was riddled with guilt. She felt like she was being pulled between her family and the exhausting medical turmoil she was going through, while also trying to navigate how to keep her attention and her creativity alive in her business. Now, she came to me specifically asking what she could do to continue thriving in this exhausting time. And if you swapped her situation and added a slight variation, I guarantee you that 99% of you listening here have felt this way at some given time. So I'm going to give you the answer that I gave to her because I truly do believe in keeping it real when it comes to our lives and our business and trying to balance them all together. Now, if right now this might be a point for you, or maybe you've experienced it, it feels like you're straddling the life and the people that need you and the vision and the drive that you have for your business and the movement you want to create with it. And it can feel really exhausting and taxing. And it can feel like you're starting to create some resentment between the time that you spend with the people who need you and the things that you want to put your energy into. And it can be extremely exhausting. Now, here's what you need to understand. You truly, right now, probably tell yourself that time is the missing factor to you finally being able to achieve some glorified, holy grail version of success in your life, in your business, and that pursuit of happiness. And I say this because that was me. I told myself for years that the reason I wasn't where I wanted to be was because I didn't have enough time. But I'm going to ask you on this episode to take a quick step back. And I want you to realize that time is not your enemy. And neither is it the fact that your life can oftentimes distract you from your goals. That's not what we're here to do today. The real enemy here that we all have together is this perfectly curated and completely unachievable idea of balance. And I'm going to share with you exactly what I shared with my client as she whispered on Voxer that she was exhausted. So let's jump into it. The first thing that I feel like oftentimes gets overlooked is that creating the business success that you want requires you to create the success in your life in order to achieve that. Now, when we're able to organize your life and your business, that's when things start to come together. So right now, when your life is feeling a little out of whack and it makes you feel like your life is out of whack, I can't stress it enough.
No, God, please, no, no!
Your business and your life must work together in some sort of perfect harmony. Now, the mistake that most people make is that they try to fit their life into their business. So they plan everything out. Their content is set up to a T. They've got their launches, they've got their sales calls, their team meetings. Business is set up like a well-oiled machine. Yet in the background, it still feels like something's leaving them scattered and they can't figure out why it feels like they're doing all the right things, but it still feels off. Now, real talk, the clarity, the confidence, the stability that you truly crave isn't actually hidden in a content plan. Truth is, when your life feels out of whack, your business feels out of whack. What a coincidence. They're all interconnected. So, what you need to understand is even if you have perfectly laid out plans and something happens in your life that makes you feel overwhelmed or anxious, your business is going to feel like it's out of whack.
Stop it. Get some help.
Let me give you an example. For me, there was a period of time where my daughter, she's 7 years old, she would scream and cry every single morning at drop off for an entire month. Actually, it was more like a few months, but let's just say an entire month. Okay. I would come home after drop off and I would be frazzled. I would feel unfocused. Honestly, I feel like I couldn't even hold a conversation with my oldest daughter who was at home. Why? Because my life felt chaotic. I was so wrapped up mentally in trying to solve the problem of my daughter being totally distressed that it honestly felt hard for me to push it aside and move on. And for over a month, I tried. Okay. I tried to just come home, shake it off, and go about my day. But it was like there was this 50-pound sack of weight being put on my shoulders, and every action I was taking was being weighed down by this 50-pound sack of weight on my shoulders. And in turn, it made everything I do in my business and my life require more effort and more energy. And honestly, just as much as my life started to feel chaotic, so did my business. I started questioning things in my business that weren't even broken. I started to tell myself that maybe I needed to scrap my marketing because even though it had been working well, maybe it could be better. I needed to hire someone new. I needed to reinvent my message. I kept looking for things that I needed to solve. And this happens so much, not only in business, but in life, where we oftentimes find ourselves searching to fix a problem that doesn't exist because we cannot give our attention to the right thing. So I personally had to take a step back. I had to stop and ask myself, was I even fixing the right problem? See, that's the thing. Oftentimes, when our life feels out of whack, we can turn to our business and to other things and start to look for problems and fix things that aren't really broken or just feel like we need to be doing more. Let's be real. You've probably done this with your spouse at some given point in time when you're feeling stressed and overwhelmed. Maybe you've picked a fight because you feel like they're the problem and you just haven't had a minute to step back and realize that, okay, it's not them, it's something else. Okay. It's like we're distracting ourselves because we want to believe that we are superhuman. And we want to believe that just because something is weighing us down in our lives, that we can still continue to work like a machine and things will be perfect. Now, here's some real secret sauce that maybe you don't want to hear. You are not superhuman. You are not a machine, and you cannot expect yourself to operate that way. Now, for myself, it was not until I took a step back and realized just how much my daughter's daily morning breakdowns were affecting me and how they were in turn affecting my business that I realized what I really needed to do was turn more of my attention to her and to what was really creating that stir and that chaos for me. So I gave myself a week to let myself develop a plan, to implement that plan and confidently maintain it. And I did. I researched everything possible because if you know anything about mama bears, we go hard. And I went to look for every single thing to not only understand why she was going through that, but understand what I could be doing. And I spent the entire week trialing between sticker charts, extra snuggles in the morning and at night, walking her up to the gate, and not, you name it. I had a list of 20 things. I was committed to finding something that would work. But listen, if I hadn't given myself that space and ultimately that grace to stop balancing and start focusing, then I would have spent 3 more months just handling it. Okay. Within just 7 days, I found that if I was able to get the most exciting breakfast possible and I filled her lunch with her favorite foods and I slowed down in the morning and then woke her up with kisses and pouring into how proud of her I was, and that I couldn't wait to have her teach me everything she learned in school while I casually got her dressed, sending her downstairs, and letting my husband take on the breakfast routine so I could come downstairs dressed and excited to hop into the car while we played her favorite songs and me and her brother prepped her by telling her what a big girl she was, that she would within 7 days completely be able to walk out of the car. I had completely resolved a problem that I had spent months subconsciously agonizing over, and I didn't even realize how much it was affecting me and my family so much. Now, what happened next was that my daughter was happily able to hop out of the car. Like I'm talking drive up, pop out of the car without even looking back at me, saying, "See you later, mommy." That was relief. That was the moment where it all worked. And the truth is that I needed to give my attention to what was weighing on me. I needed to give my attention and sit down and take control of what was going on in my life in order to be better at my business. See, your life is just as much at play as your business is in your success. And as women or as parents, as humans, we often take it all on, pretending like we can handle it all and we should just be a machine. And those emotional upticks in our personal life aren't going to affect how we show up in our business. But they are. And the truth is, your business success is absolutely contributable to the success you have in your life. I want you to take stock in that. The success that you want in your business is going to come from creating a space in your life and your business to work together. And to give you further proof of how powerful this is, let's talk a little bit about the psychology aspect of it. I need you to realize that your brain will always flow towards where your focus is. Consciously or subconsciously, whatever is currently requiring the most of your attention is where your focus will automatically flow to. So you have this one-track mind on purpose, and realizing that you're going to have moments where your full attention is better fit for one main hurdle at a time is going to ultimately give you better and faster results. The truth was, even just the act of giving myself permission and the space to focus on what was happening in my life brought so much clarity into my business. And suddenly things were flowing. I could focus on my daughter and my family's needs and still have a super successful business. Actually, I ended up generating $54,000 in one day when I let myself step back. So let's talk about how we can apply what we just learned here right now. I want you to take a quick second when you have just a minute, even if that means you're locking yourself in the bathroom or you're turning off social media. I want you to step away and I want you to ask yourself, what needs my attention the most right now? What is the number one thing that I feel weighed down by it? And then I want you to ask yourself, what is the timeline that I want to give myself to create some undivided attention and focus? I'm not saying you need to turn off your business or turn off your life during that time. And I'm going to show you how you can actually create what I call the autopilot gear that you can switch your business in when you need to focus your attention on something else. But what I want you to hear is, what is the thing that requires my attention the most right now? And number two is, how much time do I want to dedicate to giving undivided or the most undivided attention I possibly can towards solving that problem? Those are the two things I want you to start with so that you stop giving yourself this guilt around, oh my gosh, I have to be doing all the things and be doing it mediocrely or trying to be at the best at it. It's just too much, which leads me to my next point. We're going to talk about what it means to create space and grace. Now, listen, if you're a high achiever like me, where are you at? Raise your hand.
Hello, is it me you're
I want to hear that if you're listening to that and you're rolling your eyeballs, like, just hear me out, okay? I am such a high achiever and I have huge expectations for myself, my relationships, and my clients. And if I lock my vision onto something, just get out of my way because it's happening one way or another. And I know that I attract those incredible people in my world as well. So probably a lot of you listening right now, those are you, because we're innovators and innovators know what they want and they stop at nothing to bring it to life. So if that's you, and if what I just said about giving yourself some grace and space made you cringe a little bit, or made you be like, oh, not this, I feel you. I'm the same. Just hear me out. We're going to talk about it in a totally different way. Okay. Trust me. I'm not going to give you the just relax and don't worry kumbaya speech you've probably been told before. That's not what you need. What I am going to give you is the structured and strategic approach to how you give yourself space and grace. Because as a veteran 20-year marketer and someone who has been through the ups and downs of coming and going of people in the entrepreneur space for the last 12 years, I'm going to tell you that the guilt associated with innovation and chasing after growth is not fucking easy. Like, if I haven't said it before, I'm going to say it again. This shit is hard. Okay. It's hard wanting to change the world, but also having babies or spouses or a life that requires your attention constantly. I'm talking sick kids, fights with your husbands, another family gathering that Aunt Jackie's house where you're being asked 100 questions about your little business. You know, any of those kinds of things that are just our day-to-day life. This is life. And a lot of times we high achievers, we have a lot of pressure. We create a lot of that pressure, but we're trying to juggle all the balls and we're trying to make sure that none of those balls fall. Like, holy freaking shit, you deserve an award and a month-long nap for everything you're taking on right now. But as women, as mothers, as humans, it can feel like this is just a part of our gig. And then that's when that emotion of balance comes into play. We start to feel guilty for not doing enough, not being enough, not achieving enough. And we start to feel frustrated with ourselves and the world around us for not lining up for everything we want to achieve when we want to achieve it. And those emotions can take a toll on our actions and they become a lot. So I'm going to ask you to take a quick moment and just celebrate the crap out of yourself because you are enough. You are doing enough. You are achieving everything you want and you deserve some mother freaking grace. Because let's be clear, if this was your spouse, your child, your client saying and feeling the way you feel and the way you speak to yourself about how you should be doing more, you would give them a swift kick in the ass and tell them that they are incredible. So here we are. I'm going to say it to you and I'm going to ask you to say it to yourself. I am doing enough. I am achieving everything I want, and it's all happening.
You can do it!
Okay. Those are the three things that if you can repeat to yourself, having that mind game in play for you to be able to achieve the success you want in business and in life is going to keep you resilient and strong and achieving. So repeat after me. I am doing enough. I am achieving everything I want, and it is all happening. And you're allowed to slow down. Hell, you should. And I know that's really hard to hear from my high achievers. I hear you. And your success will abso-freaking-lutely be dependent on your ability to give yourself the grace and space to say, I need a hot minute to get my shit together and just settle down. It doesn't mean you're distracted. It doesn't mean you're not committed. It means you're human. Yep, you're human. And while you're a revolution in the business industry and your passion and drive feel like they have no limit, you, the human, do. And when it feels out of whack and everything is feeling chaotic, give yourself some space and grace. That means when you feel like you're agonizing and overanalyzing your data and trying to figure out why things aren't working, or maybe you're spending all of your energy and time on developing the perfect marketing plan, whatever it might be, I want you to give yourself the space and grace to go outside. Let the sun shine on your face while you eat a bar of chocolate and tell yourself, I am the movement. And this moment is only making way for that movement. And when you think you need to be sitting behind your computer to write out 30 days of content, but you're feeling frustrated and it making you want to quit everything you know, sit down, grab a cup of coffee, a glass of wine, or a cup of tea, and just let yourself listen to the stillness around you and tell yourself, I am the movement. And this moment is only making way for that movement, because being committed to your goals and letting it overwhelmingly consume your every fiber is not the same thing. Some of my favorite things to do are go outside, barefoot, play with my dogs or my chickens, sit on my couch in my room, scroll TikTok for 15 minutes, and just zone out. Heck, go for a drive with the loudest alternative music possible. This is my take on it. And sing at the top of my lungs, or play video games or pretend play with my kids and just shut off everything around me. In those 20, 30 minutes of grace and space, I hit the reset button. And when I come back, it's like everything that felt overwhelming stops. All the blocks and creativity and vision that I had disappear, and I'm flooded with ideas, content, and everything in between. And I come back realizing that I am beyond ready and capable to get back to my movement, which leads me to the conversation that I'm going to geek out about. And you know that I apply to every single part of my life, business, and pursuit of happiness: the systems. Because here's the truth: my life, my business, all of it is a part of a system, okay? Meaning I could take a step back from either my life or my business for a period of time, and they could run themselves. In life, that may look like having a system for your kids getting their homework done in the small window between pickups and rushing to their soccer practices while having dinner cooked and ready. In business, that means that now you can take the time and focus to help your family member who needs caring after a surgery while successfully still bringing in leads, calls, and clients while you care for them. Systems are the glue that holds all the pieces together. Systems are freedom. Systems are the peace of mind you're searching for. They are what truly allows you to move the needle without needing to constantly be on. Most people that struggle with the elusive idea of balance have struggled to develop the systems that make them feel efficient and accomplished. And let me tell you, systems are what allowed me years ago to start a business and run a business with 3 kids under the age of 4 in just 2 hours a day. And systems are what allowed me to scale to 75K months in the height of the pandemic with 3 kids home that I was doing remote learning with. Now, systems don't need to be some big technical task. I always ask people when they tell me they don't understand systems or it feels overcomplicated, how do you make a sandwich? And after they give me a sideways look, thinking I've totally lost my mind, they break down how they would go about making a turkey sandwich on sourdough bread. My response to what they share with me is that is your system. See, the truth of the matter is we all inherently have a system for the things that we do consistently. The problem is that one of 2 things happen. Either that system isn't working, so we find ourselves reinventing it every time we sit down to perform that task or achieve the desired result. Just like if I were to make a turkey sandwich and if by noon it was already soggy and gross, I would always try to reinvent how I made my sandwich because I'd want to make sure it worked properly. Or number 2 is that you haven't yet identified the patterns of that success within the process that you have that warrant you creating a system. That's why I tell people identifying the genius behind your system and attributing it to the results is what ultimately helps us develop systems that are pragmatic and repeatable and allow us to do the things we need to. Now, obviously, with simple tasks, it can be straightforward. But when we're creating systems around people and human behavior, that system's going to require more depth. And we're going to have different KPIs, those key performance indicators. Here's an example. A few months ago, I asked one of my mastermind clients what she attributed to the success of her posting a viral piece of content on LinkedIn that landed her 15K in new clients. Her answer, I'm not quite sure. Now, the replication of results, AKA systems, are only viable when we can identify the patterns, things like posting at the same time of day or the same day of the week, but more in seeing how the methodical things like addressing the concerns and sandwiching it between a story and a truth drop, which is what ultimately I helped my client identify for her strategy audit on our mastermind call. But systems, whether they're used in your business or your life, allow you to automate and expedite routine tasks while not being so dependent on you. An example is today, my content and marketing systems allowed me to not even need to log into social media, but still have leads and clients coming in while I could focus all of my attention on my family or other areas of my business. Now, some of the most top systems I recommend that's going to sprinkle between business and life are these ones. Number 1 is having a content and marketing system that would allow you to create just 3 to 4 pieces of content and repurpose that content if you've already created it so that you can completely hand off your marketing to your team and still be able to create consistent leads, calls, and clients. That is the number 1 thing in my business that has allowed me to take a step back, to focus more on clients, be able to be with my family and still have my business run itself. We leverage the inbound demand system that literally only requires 3 to 4 pieces of content that I could create in an hour to an hour and a half a week, and then be able to leverage that in the distribution process throughout the inbound demand system so that I can hand this off to my VA who can now leverage that and develop those leads and calls and clients coming in. It's a part of a system that allows me the freedom that I need, which leads me to number 2, what I call an activity system. Now, I've got 3 kids, a herd of animals, and a lot going on. And systems are what help my husband and I not lose our minds while managing a severely hectic schedule. So on Mondays through Saturdays, we implement what we call an activity system that essentially integrates pickup and drop-offs from our kids to school to their multiple sports and dinner and homework and everything in between. So my husband and I can integrate who has dinner, who has homework, who has dishes, and create an effective handoff and prep work practice that allows us to run like a well-oiled machine so that in the 1 to 1.5 hour window of time between school and sports, we can get our kids packed, fed, homework done, dishes done, and everyone out the door and moving with limited yelling and frustration. Now, that is what I call an activity system. So again, just as much as I think systems are super powerful and important in your business, they're just as important in your life. which leads me to my third system, a conversion system. Now, chasing down conversions, running those live launches, or trying to get on as many calls as possible is not a conversion system. Having a approach and what we leverage, which is our bingeable authority system that effectively pre-sells your audience without holding their hand every step of the way, gives you the freedom to step away from your computer while clients sell themselves. And that, my lovely humans, is what I call the life, business, and pursuit of happiness from my real talk perspective. It's also the reason I'm obsessed with strategic, systemized, and evergreen growth, because I truly believe that we build our businesses to fit our lives, not the other way around. And the easiest method is exactly how I've been able to do that, how I've been able to develop the systems, the strategy, and the processes that allow me to create the client acquisition and retention while turning my message into a movement without being fully consumed by it every single minute of my life. That is the easy yes method. And to give you a quick, fresh recap on what this looks like, we start by really diving into your genius, that untapped genius that maybe right now you don't know. And we put that together into an innovative gap methodology, a method that allows you to clearly articulate and communicate what it is you do, how you do it, and why that's important to your audience so that they can instantly resonate and line up to work with you so that you're no longer chasing demand, you're creating it. And that step alone is what allows my clients to 5 to 10x their price points, have clients lining up to work with them without them needing to show up on every platform. Which leads us to step 2, which is creating that conversion system, but not just any conversion system. It's what we call our bingeable authority conversion system. This is how we are able to pre-sell our audience and get them to sell themselves by leveraging a bingeable style sales system that speaks to their every needs and desires while leveraging what we call the mimic decision-making process to make it an easy yes every single step of the way so that you're booking calls on your calendars with clients who have already decided that they want to work with you. And step 3 is where we systemize the results and retention for your clients. This is where we actually get your clients to create the amazing, incredible results that can be done at scale so that they go and walk away shouting from the rooftops, sharing your message with others, bringing in more clients into your business while you get to serve and support clients to the best of your abilities. This is what I call the easy yes method. And I want to invite you, as always, to jump onto a chat with me. We're doing what we call a 3-point growth optimization audit. On this call, what we're going to do is I'm going to evaluate your current process for how you get clients, the systems that you use, the message that you share, and I'm going to show you exactly where the kink in the process is. I'm going to show you exactly how you can solve for that kink and how my easy yes method actually helps you do that without needing to do all the extra heavy lifting. So if you want to book one of those calls, head on over to easyesleads.com/call. Send me a message on Facebook, on Instagram, TikTok, wherever you're at with the words that say audit. And we'll set you up with a call where we can do this with you. Now, until next time, I hope that you've enjoyed this intermission episode where we've broken down the elusive idea behind balance and how you can actually create the life, the business, and the pursuit of happiness that fits you to a T. Until next time, here's to keeping it real.